Shall we begin?
Let's begin now.
Hello and welcome to the Ticket Stub, your favorite place for movie news and reviews. Normally, this is the part where I talk about how we broadcast live every Thursday at noon on 104.5 and 106.1 FM in beautiful Conroe, Texas. But maybe we should talk about that for a little bit.
Yeah.
We're still going to be coming on the radio every week.
At Thursday.
On Thursdays at
noon
noon.
O'clock.
But we're going to be doing things a little bit differently moving forward. We're going to focus a little bit more on our podcasting platform, which means that we're going to be a little bit less beholden to the radio format of breaking every 15 or 20 minutes, being, a 55-minute show.
Yeah. We didn't like those chains. We
Yeah.
didn't want those chains.
We're chain
Those
breakers,
FM
man.
chains.
That's right. So we'll still play. What'll probably end up happening, and this is going to be something that we need the audience just to bear with us, especially if you're our FM audience, is that we'll still be playing the show, but when it plays on FM, it'll just play for how the time slot we've got. But if the show runs longer than the time slot on FM, it will probably just fade out, and we'll have a portion that will say, it will be one of our beautiful voices saying, if you'd like to hear more, please check us out.
Subscribe already to our podcast, you idiot.
Why aren't you already there, you idiot?
Well, I think really the overall goal with it is we saw that the podcast platform offered more flexibility with our content because we always felt rushed with the game and like suggesting our movie rewinds. Because especially with you, Connor, we're gonna rewind 6 movies real quick. Let me go down this list.
Let me do a rapid fire rewind.
And I felt Connor needed more time to go through all these great movies he goes to see.
I do.
And so the format, I think the overall goal too for our podcast is hopefully we'll drop the podcast at noon simultaneously with the FM version.
So Thursdays at noon, our goal is for that to become the new drop
And if we
time.
do something live, we'll advertise it as live in studio at the noon o'clock. So of course the podcast won't be available at noon if we're doing it live in the studio.
Yeah, that's going to take a little time. Or if we do live at the Grand, or if we do live at Chris's house, or
we're definitely doing it inside his costume room.
Oh yeah,
I really want to do that.
Yeah,
Yeah, that would be a great spot
it's a
to
very
do it.
low ceiling.
So,
Is it
Not that
really?
That matters. Yeah, but the ceiling is very low. Yeah.
See, now we have unlimited time. Chris, why is the ceiling low?
We can't jump.
Oh,
You can't
well,
jump.
if we can't jump, I don't want to be there. So the hope is that this is going to open
did you
up.
learn that the hard way too when you moved into there, Chris? Like, oh man, you can't jump in here.
I did hit it with a golf club once, but those,
What? Why were you swinging a
He's
golf-
testing. You have to test.
I got my golf clubs up there.
Okay.
You gotta,
well,
you gotta test.
is that like the one room?
surroundings.
Is that the one room you get to keep all of your stuff?
Pretty much. Yeah.
The rest of the house
That's
is not yours.
great.
Yeah.
Off limits. Well, we're hoping that the podcast format will allow us to let some topics breathe a little bit more and not feel. I feel like part of my job on the show was to stop the conversation and move on to the next thing.
I hated it.
I know you did.
Because you're so bad at it.
I know. It's really, really painful to listen to. But also, this will give Dick time to explore all of the meaningless rabbit holes that he's been wanting to go down for years because
Thank
we've been
you.
doing the show.
Especially with Meet the Fockers.
Oh,
or
goodness
no,
gracious.
Little Fockers.
Little Fockers. Yeah, I wish it was Meet the Fockers. Little Fockers is the movie that we're going to be group rewinding today. I will say that normally I introduce ourselves. My name is Connor. I'm one of the hosts of the show, joined in studio with Chris Appel, sitting right across from me, and producer Dick, who is also here as well.
Say, girl.
Yeah, what's up? What's up?
What's up, guys?
If you want to sponsor the show, if what you've heard so far has inspired you to want to put your hard-earned cash to where your
I'm still wanting that
business
popcorn
name,
business. Are they gone yet? Are
they,
out
will,
of
they
the-
will not get back to me. I don't want to
Back
be
in
smirking.
time.
You know what we should
Okay,
do?
well,
We should.
I wasn't going to say their name.
Oh,
but-
okay. Yeah, sorry.
We should do the guerrilla advertising. We should do the show in front of their popcorn business, and then we can kind of say, "Hey, we want your
Yes,
business."
let's do that.
Hey.
Let's contact them. We'll do a show at the business.
No, better idea. Do the show in front of the business, and as every customer walks up, turn them away with negative things about how their popcorn tastes.
Oh, their popcorn's burned.
Until
It's
they
burned.
sponsor us. Say, we will not stop this assault of negativity.
No, okay, imagine. Okay, I gotta ask you this, Chris. Imagine the smell of burning popcorn is probably your one of your emergency modes at the Grand Theater in Conroe. So if we could somehow take that smell and put it in a stink bomb
a Cincy or something,
or something,
We're very good at creating the smell sometimes.
No, that's what I'm saying. And so
If we could
imagine
get some of your wonderful
we go
workers to
we
come-
go to this popcorn business and we set those up,
Yeah.
and that's how we sabotage it and be like, oh, it's always smelling like that
And we
awful
say,
burnt popcorn.
until you sponsor us, this is our only care and
And we-
campaign.
The best thing to do would just be burn a cat in a barrel.
Oh, God.
That'd probably
wait,
That'd
okay.
probably be the closest
Setback.
smell.
Is
Do you have
that-
some cats laying around?
How do you know that's the smell of
Well,
burnt
it's like
popcorn?
burning. It's like burning hair-ish.
Oh, gross. Anyways, so
Man.
so Popcorn
What
Company.
does it have to be a cat?
What else?
Anything
What
with
else does
hair.
he do in that room? Golf clubs, burning cats.
55-gallon barrel. Yeah, he's got a lot of good things in there. Well, so if you'd like to sponsor us based on all this wonderful conversation, or if you don't want us to sit outside your business and sabotage your customers until you give in, please just visit us on irlonestar.com. Send us an email. irlonestar.com/TTS is how you can find out all the information. We're on Facebook, Twitter @the_ticket stub. You can engage the show that way. We've got a good show today. We're going to do some movie news here in just a minute, and then we're doing our monthly group rewind, where all three of us watch the same movie. It seems like it's mostly been bad movies that we've all three suffered through together. But we're going to talk a little
it.
bit.
I
What
don't
are you
know.
talking about?
We're-
Last week was awesome.
I don't know how.
No, Nell? Talking about Nell? What do you mean last week?
Yeah,
Last week's show was the Lifetime movie. It was awesome.
Oh, that one was good. That wasn't a group rewind though. That was like we're doing.
Oh,
we,
yeah,
that-
group rewind. Sorry, I wouldn't pay attention.
we did all group rewind a movie, but that was I guess.
And I don't know how we come up with these movies either.
I think
it's just
Dick
like
normally-
somehow it just.
When we get into Little Fockers, I'll talk about why.
I think Dick normally says we should just watch Little Fockers, and we're like, oh, okay, because we're like, oh, that's a month away, that's a lifetime away.
Yeah, right.
Who cares what happens a month from now?
Yeah.
And then when the month gets here, it's like, oh, what have we done? What have we
Yes.
agreed to?
Especially
very much so.
especially how we watched it all.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
we all did the same way, and we'll talk about that later
Yeah.
on as well. I've got one that we need to rewind. Remind me later on. I've got a great group rewind movie maybe for next month. All right, movie news. We've got some good things coming up. Time.com has an article talking about the Hallmark Christmas Channel movies.
Is this the Time, like Time Magazine?
It is.
Probably, man.
I think so. I
Don't-
mean,
don't
Time.
challenge them.
Yeah,
Oh.
I'm guessing it's Time. Time.com. You think there's more than one? You think there's like Time Magazine?
No, well, I just think they would be above this article.
Well, they are not. Apparently,
Okay.
they are not
Really,
above
the
it.
time has gone way downhill, dude. Don't you pay attention to the fake news?
Oh, that MSM. Hallmark Channel is offering 22 original holiday movies, and they all have one key ingredient. Basically,
One
it's-
actor and is in all of them. That would be phenomenal.
No, basically, it's that their plot is all the exact same. I mean, that's what I got from the article. They have one key ingredient, and that
Christmas.
is there is what did they say is that here I'll read the quote. You can pretty much guarantee that when you meet their two leads in the first 10 minutes of a Hallmark movie, it's guaranteed that they will end up together. And that is and that's kind of
Well, that was
kinda
my
true.
comment on the Lifetime movie we saw because there was an angle where I was like, this could go very dark, very fast.
Yeah.
And it didn't, but there's still hope for it. And do you think? Let me ask you this: Is Hallmark is that like a Christian-based thing? Do
don't
they
know.
have
I
gay
don't-
couples in it or homosexual couples or like
I-
group polygamy
think
is
they
illegal, like straight up, right? We
Yeah,
all know
you
that.
can't do
So you can't have that
except
on
for in Utah.
TV.
I think they have gay.
Well, no, they did Big
ornaments.
Love.
Yeah,
so
that's
Big
like-
Love
that's
is
Utah though. I think they have their own rules.
so, but
the
so
Wild West out
Hallmark
there.
could do a polygamy Hallmark movie,
Oh, they should.
and then
Yeah, they have a polygamy.
and then they
Christmas
can do
ornament out.
they can do a
Do they really?
transgender.
Yeah, it's one guy, and then there's surrounded by 4 chicks.
That's what I need just because I'm a pimp.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm
No, they
wondering.
don't
I'm
have
wondering because they have to come up with these scripts, and
Yeah.
they're like, they gotta go. Hey, let's change it up a little bit. Let's do interracial. Let's do homosexual. Do they do any of that? I don't even know. I don't watch that many Hallmark movies.
I don't know if Hallmark is a religious company necessarily,
'Cause
but
I
I think their audience is probably a more straight-laced, audience that's not looking for so much of that. I think what their audience wants is like attractive white people falling in love. If I were just gonna take a guess, that's what I would go for.
Yeah, I think
All
Lifetime.
right,
may
I'm
be
looking
more
on
for
it.
the-
I'm looking it up.
the
Apparently,
gay side.
Lifetime does the gay side.
I would think so.
yeah, Lifetime is more. I guess the term progressive.
That would be
they're-
great
when
if
they're
there was,
not demonizing men. Then they put two men
Well,
together.
it's just interesting to me because everyone kind of talks about Hallmark. This is the time of Hallmark.
Yeah.
Great time for getting all these Christmas movies. But I'm like, you always wonder there'd be some group that's not being represented to be pissed off about it.
Dwarf love.
Something like that.
Yeah. there's
Tiptoes
something-
too.
Well, no, this is the perfect time of year for dwarves. I don't think they feel left out.
Well, that's true, but they're typecast though. How come they don't ever get to be
Yeah,
Santa?
Hollisville's included.
Oh,
Yeah, there you
your
go.
fiance. She's like 4'10". I don't
Technically-
think it's quite the same. That's
That's
offensive to
technically-
dwarves.
technically.
That's offensive to dwarves. But yeah, it could be called like Enough Love to Go Around, and it could be like one man who falls in love with like 4 women at the same time. And
They're all dwarves.
But no, that's a question. I mean, that's a question I have. I guess I'll do some research for over the Christmas break and figure that out. Because to me, that's just kind of a silly move on Hallmark's part of not doing. Because you got to think of their catalog, man. They have their own streaming service
yeah,
for all their movies. Because Hallmark's been around for what 30 years, I think. And they weren't originally doing Christmas movies. They were just doing Hallmark specials on ABC or Hallmark Presents. But I feel my sneaky suspicion is it's like they're neighbors with Chick-fil-A. And so like at the core of them, That's the reason they're not doing it.
Can the Ticket Stub please start the campaign to get Hallmark to start making like transgender? You know, we could be like 22 of your movies all straight. You know, we could start like looking up stats of like how many, like what % of people are gay or trans, and be like, you're not representing. Can we start that? I feel like it would gain traction.
Oh, it'd be
I feel like it would really, it would
right
take
now,
off the national news. Like, local podcasters start a petition that goes viral.
I mean, that's just something that well,
what do you think, Chris?
In the end, people don't really care.
You know, I mean, you know, we could.
Well,
but
what you have to
I think
do
it would be seen in a certain
No,
light.
yeah, what you have to do though is you have to
positively.
target the actors and actresses who are in these movies and ask them why would they support an organization like Hallmark
Yeah.
when they don't represent the world.
Cast of Full House.
Yeah. One Tree Hill, Full House.
What
That's Lifetime, so you can't dog that. We're talking about Hallmark.
Because we
here.
love Lifetime. That's right. I forgot.
Well, what we'll do is on the back end, we were talking to Lifetime, like we got an opportunity here.
So we're
You see this outrage over
if you
here at
sponsor,
Hallmark.
if you sponsor our podcast, we
This
will
outrage
make sure.
at Hallmark, you can come in and make an announcement and capitalize on it and say, you know what? We're going to do what Hallmark doesn't do. We're going to do it better. We're going to make these movies.
This sounds great.
Because they're all going to be crappy anyway.
But Dick, you're the Hallmark movie expert. Does 22 seem like less? I thought last year it was much more than that. Am I wrong?
No, last year they did this weird thing where they did, like, if I remember correctly, they had their one big movie, which they had like Danny Glover and all that kind of stuff. And then they did, I think they did 20 something, but then they added on 3 more for New Year's.
Oh,
So
But
like,
every one of them had someone from Full House.
yeah.
or
Fuller House.
Step by Step. Actually, no, I don't think
No,
Step by
that's
Step people. Those people will not
Patrick,
participate in.
Patrick Duffy.
Patrick Duffy, he's out. He doesn't care about love.
But no, I think that's what they did. They said they made 30 something movies.
Yeah.
But it was like, oh, they made 3 for Thanksgiving, 3 for New Year's, and then they had the rest for Christmas. But they all had Christmas in it.
Okay. Well, 22, it felt like less. I didn't know if they were trying to scale back a little bit. The article does mention that Netflix, you watched that Christmas Prince on Netflix. Was it last year? Or,
Yeah, it was
or
last
sometime?
year.
Yeah, so they mentioned that one, and Lifetime's making the movies as well. There is apparently quite the the audience out there.
Again, there's a streaming service for Hallmark only.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
So if you're really into it, just leave it on and just.
If that's your thing, then I'm not ever gonna hang out with you. If your thing is like a Hallmark,
You know what? You know, some things you say, like, those people don't exist. I guarantee you there's one person who knows the trivia of the Hallmark Christmas movies.
oh, that'd be
Because
great.
I did, one day we did watch, I think like 4 or 5, but it was just on. We were working around the house. And I will say, after about 3 hours, it all blended together. Like, I couldn't tell you, that's when the sister had cancer. You know, I would never be able to know the true details of every movie. I was like, kind of like how the article
I
says.
think that's Times Point. Yeah,
Yeah, like they end up together.
I think that is Times Point. All right, let's move on. DailyMail.com has
The Daily Mail?
yeah. Okay, stop it. Yeah. Although
Official source, guys.
although the sides are littered with Floribama Shore banners from the MTV.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
so you know it's legitimate news. DailyMail.com had something about Aquaman, saying that the critics are actually kind of being positive towards Aquaman. That they're calling it the most ambitious DC movie to date.
Oh, really?
Is that a good thing?
I think that they mean it in a positive way. And then they are raving about Jason Momoa's great performance.
Oh, yes.
So
Yeah.
Jason Momoa, which I really like Jason Momoa. I mean, he's not ever been.
Well, he's charismatic on the screen.
Yeah, he's
like
just-
every role he's been in. It's like, I'm going with the flow.
Yeah, I think he's just. I don't know, something about
I'm a
him.
little tired of hearing about him from the ladies.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Is that why you're jealous
He's
and
got a
burning
big-
cats and barrels? Is that what
Yeah,
the
there you
problem
go.
here is?
Is your wife like a big Momoa fan or something? Like what
No,
ladies
she-
are always
she
telling you
didn't-
about him?
She didn't say that, but she did ask a lot of questions about him the other day when the preview came on. So I kind of was like,
Oh, so
yeah.
you're a little territorial.
Well,
Yeah.
what's interesting about this movie is the cast lineup. They did some really good job, and then they did some really questionable jobs about who they casted with certain characters. Not saying that from a comic book perspective. It's more of just like Nicole Kidman has always been a distraction for me
Okay.
in a movie. Does that make sense to you?
it's their forehead, isn't it?
Well, no, it's just like I know it's Nicole Kidman. I don't really
Oh,
know.
yeah, okay.
Like if you do the others and you add some prosthetics and stuff like that, I get it because it doesn't look like her. But Nicole Kidman is one of those actresses that's like she's clearly attractive, but it's just like I just don't believe. It takes me out of the experience.
I didn't really realize how big the cast was.
Oh no, it has a
Yeah.
lot of big stars.
It's got
And like
Jason Momoa, Amber Heard, Dolph
and Amber
Lundgren, Nicole
Heard,
Kidman,
I mean,
Julie
Drive
Andrews,
Angry, Amber Heard. She's taking a step up here, and I'm like, why did you cast this woman?
Patrick Wilson, William Dafoe.
Again, why did you cast Patrick Wilson?
Jimon Honsu, who's like the
Oh yeah.
you know he's I don't know, he's that guy. He's in some like the Fast and Furious.
Homicide,
Yeah,
maybe.
he's in a bunch of movies.
Yeah.
But anyways, I don't know. This looked really, really, really stupid to me, if I'm being honest. But if the reviews are coming in okay, I mean, I'm going to see it either way because it's going to be a big, it's a big budget Christmas movie. But the reviews are actually coming in well. The article said that it's like an early Marvel movie in a good way. Like it had some of the kind of the rawness and the fun aspects of like an early Iron Man or something like that.
Well, they got a good director, and he knows how to do a good film, like a standalone film. This guy James Wan, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right.
Yeah.
He did Saw. He
W-A-N.
wrote Saw. Sorry, he directed
like the easiest name ever to pronounce.
Well, you never know.
I know, but for you, that's good though. You're
I'm
starting
trying.
small.
Well, he did like Furious 7. I'm looking at it. He
Furious
did
7.
a lot of scary movies.
Yeah,
Conjuring, Insidious, Saw, the original Saw. And to me, like those kind of movies give a good example of like a one complete film. And I think that's what kind of was missing from the DC movies was they refused to focus on the film itself. They were too excited about the next film. So they would try to write as much of stuff about the next film as possible in the current film. And Marvel's kind of hitting that sometimes, just depending on the movie. But they kind of, certain movies like the Ant-Man and the Wasp, they've done a good job of singling out these characters in the universe and didn't try to involve too much of the outside movies. But that's why, I mean, I think this movie's going to be fun. I think it's going to be good.
DC needs to stay dark, I think.
Really, though?
Well, but Marvel is so happy and positive,
Yeah.
and it's much brighter. And DC always, especially with like the Christian Bale Batman movies, very, very dark. Even the Michael Keaton Batmans are dark. And Man of Steel was kind of a dark Superman movie, and it was really good. I think they should stick with that. If you try to match Marvel like what they're doing with Aquaman, I just don't think you're going to.
You think they're trying to match Marvel with Aquaman?
Absolutely.
I think probably so,
Absolutely.
right?
Yes, absolutely.
How?
By making it more lighthearted, maybe not as
Yeah.
dark. I mean, bringing it into the kind of the Marvel feel of. I think they're just trying to emulate what Marvel's done with their success and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think
Definitely.
I
And
think
that's what they tried to do with Justice
I think
League, and it
they're-
didn't
They're
work.
trying just to single it out. I don't think they're trying to make a DC universe. They're just trying to make an Aquaman movie.
Oh, they're trying to make a DC universe.
yeah.
What are you talking about?
But
Of course
they
are.
tried that and then they
Well,
failed.
this is still. I think they're just.
And so
they're scraping.
They're saying, "Hey, this is our last chance to like with this universe to make a good movie. Let's not try to involve Will Smith as Deadeye." Or
No, I
Deadeye."
agree, but I mean, it's the same way that I think they're trying to reset almost and say we're going to start this kind of, we're going to reset, not try to do Justice League, not try to do all that,
Yeah,
but we're going to try to have this guy.
because the Flash movie's coming out, I think next year.
And I think they're going to try and start
And-
with they're going to because I think what maybe they realized that they didn't do a very good job. They tried to hop into some of these Justice League movies. They didn't do where one thing Marvel did well was you established
Well,
kind
they
of a love
did
for the character.
Superman movies. They had a couple before they.
Yeah, well, they've always had Superman and Batman, but
Well, they never did a
and
Batman
and,
movie.
and
they've
speaking
had
of the Flash,
50
though,
Batman movies. What are you talking about?
Well, they didn't make like an individual Batman movie in this universe.
thank God.
Didn't they, or
Yeah.
was that just Batman and Superman? Was
No,
that
that's the question no one really has the answer to is what happened to Ben Affleck's Batman? Because I was so sure
it was
they
bad?
had like still shots like leaked and like we're making the movie, we're making the Batman movie, and then I was like, what happened to it?
I think it
Well,
was.
he got booted. As
If listeners
director.
know what happened to it, send me something because my conspiracy theory is when Buttman came out, or was it?
Batman.
No, they make a
Buttman.
joke about Ben
Yeah,
Affleck
yeah.
being a grabby person.
Yep.
Oh.
And then so like that became the Me Too movement. That's why I think it got axed or put on hold.
Yeah.
But now that they don't know who he was directing it. Now I guess he had a breakdown.
Well, yeah, that is horrible drinking problem.
Oh, because you know the guy.
Rehab.
I just know there's a video of him from TRL grabbing a woman's
Yes.
like that. That was pretty funny.
Well, he just got
Him and Carson.
He
Him and
just
no,
got-
or TRL, some MTV thing. He was young. Like
TRL.
It was, really look it up. It's really weird. Like he gets a little handsy with
Today we're
somebody.
going to count down the top 5 NSYNC videos. Ben, what do you think?
Well, no, it's when they're doing spring break.
Oh, yeah.
So he's on the beach and
Come
he's
on.
like-
Okay.
Okay,
Cut
dude.
him some slack.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's Batman.
He's
man.
been taking jello shots all day. Give him a little break.
Jello shots. But no, this movie has a lot of great strength behind it. It has a good director. I think the main actor isn't. I don't really know because like
Easy. Chris is getting pissed over here. Don't talk too much about
I think
Momoa.
he's strong enough to do a leading role.
physically, literally strong enough.
He's literally strong enough, especially with the only way to screw this up is the script.
Yeah.
Because that's gonna be the hardest sell is talk about an underwater Atlantis and be serious with it.
There's no way the script could be good. I'm sorry, I just don't think that
Chris, you're the Jason Momoa of this podcast. Okay, does that make you feel
Oh,
better?
yeah,
Does
yeah,
that make you
yeah.
feel better? Like
no,
like,
no, it
oh,
doesn't. No. Okay, first of all, he is not a good actor at all.
Oh, you're so mad. You're so
He's
bitter.
not.
I'm sorry that your
He's
wife likes
not.
him. I'm sorry. Okay, you don't
No,
have to.
okay.
Don't ruin his career just for that.
Okay, name one good thing he's done.
Khal Drago,
What is that?
Game of Thrones.
Yeah, only
What
a
is
select few
that?
people know that though.
Oh, stop it! Select few millions and millions
No,
and
the
millions of people.
demographic,
Oh, okay.
the demographic for
He
Game of
makes a
Thrones
great
is like
barbarian.
below 50.
Yeah. Oh, okay, that's like most of the people.
No, it's not.
Yes,
I'm
it is.
sorry.
Boy, he's a barbarian. He's fantastic.
He was good in that.
Well, no, I think this is a
As a
good opportunity
barbarian.
for him. It's a good opportunity for him, and it's a good opportunity for James Wan, the director, to make a big budget movie. Because all his other movies, besides Fury 7, because Fury 7 was a good test. And that's why I have faith in this movie, because he did a good job. That was his first big budget handling of a large cast doing a movie like that and telling a good story. Because, Fast and Furious are the best movies ever.
Of course.
But,
of course.
well, they're just well made, I guess. I don't really
True
know.
drama.
I don't really-
Drama at the core.
This one is. I mean, it's going to be okay. It's not going to blow the doors off. I think they're going to.
Well, it's probably going to be their
best.
best. It's probably their best DC movie they've made.
I wouldn't be surprised if this is the best DC movie. Well, you can't count like Dark Knight. That's a different time, different world.
Oh no.
Well, I don't think DC made that movie.
Well, maybe not. It's a DC universe, I guess. All right.
Because DC makes these movies now, right? Am I right? But the produce, like the main central control is DC.
I know for Marvel they have Marvel Studios. I'm not
And that
sure if
he's
DC
the main
has-
guy. Paul Feig. Is it not Paul Feig? I
It's
forgot
not
it.
Paul Feig.
There's a guy similar to that name, but he's the main dude
Okay.
who's like overseeing the whole Marvel universe. He's the one that hires the directors. He's the one that he works probably for Disney, but he's the main dude.
Well, I'm sure we'll have more DC info as time rolls on and this movie comes
Well,
closer.
I know we're gonna do the review for this movie. We're gonna do the group rewind just to piss this guy off.
Oh no, I don't want to see Aquaman.
You must. All right, Vanity Fair, quickly. Sly Stallone.
Quickly? Why are we doing quickly?
Take as long as we want, guys. Sorry, let's just chill, man.
Let's get some incense going.
Yeah. Sylvester Stallone says that Creed 2 is going to be his last Rocky movie, and his quote is that all things must pass.
Oh yeah, right.
Do you buy it? Do you buy that he's done being Rocky?
No.
You don't?
Didn't
No.
he do that last time?
I don't know if he said it or not last time.
Well,
But this time, he posted like this long, sappy Instagram post about it.
well, what's gonna happen is the people are gonna love Creed 2 so much where Rocky didn't get a proper send off, and so when he's like literally 90 years old, he's gonna be back for just a cameo for Creed 3, and then they're gonna close it out.
Do you think? Okay. Do you think
I-
one more Creed and done? What do you think?
I promise you, he will be in every Creed movie that they do.
Or what?
He's
Can we put some
not
stakes on
done.
this?
They are going to continue making these until they don't make money.
Is it gonna be like Terminator Genesis, where it's like a CGI of Arnold? That's how they're gonna do it.
Ooh, yeah. Well, you know that one Rocky movie was it Rocky Balboa where the boxer fought against like a simulation of
Yeah.
Rocky from when he was young or whatever, and they
He
said
would
that
beat
Rocky
him.
would have won, I think, or something.
No, the guy would have beat him. Or was it?
No, I
guy?
think they said Rocky would have beat him, and so then Rocky comes out of like 50-year-old retirement to fight this boxer in his prime. But maybe they'll do that. Maybe it'll be like a seat, like it'll be like the
Well,
Real Steel. You ever see that movie Real
Yeah.
Steel?
Yes.
Maybe it'll be like that, but like Rocky Balboa bought.
He's still got to be in a wheelchair.
Well, no,
rolling
but
around.
he
They got to do that.
he's
still.
too attached to these projects because he's the writer and director of the first one. I think he directed out of all of them. Did he direct all of them? No, but whatever it was, he's directly involved.
He's helped write all of them.
and he'd be an idiot not to close out the story of Rocky because I love the Rocky
Oh, yeah.
storyline.
Me too.
So if you tell me you're gonna stop making Rocky movies, you're just a tease. Like I'm not gonna go see Creed 2,
Okay.
burn all my DVDs. Screw you, dude. And
I will say in Creed 2, which I have seen, it did feel like there was more of a
because you saw it.
yeah.
Okay.
It did feel like there was more of a torch passing, which I'll talk about it not today, but more of a torch passing in Creed 2 than there had been in like where Michael B. Jordan really it felt like he was kind of taking on the mantle a little bit more. Where now it's I mean you've had 2 movies with him, it's fully about him now, and Rocky was much less involved, and so I could see a world where he wants to kind of fade, but I do get what you mean where it's like there needs to be that moment where they hug.
Like
and it
he doesn't
fades
have to
black
die.
and-
He doesn't have to die. You could just. I haven't seen Creed 2, and
Yeah.
I hope they and I'd heard they didn't allude to him leaving, so I'm interested because they kind of alluded in Creed 1 where he was dying or he was sick or what was it?
I'm trying to remember. Even it's been a while.
There's a lot of things going. He's reminiscing a lot, and so
Yeah.
that told me, oh, this guy's on his way out. You
But
know?
he's kind of sad at this point in the movie. He's like, he's old. He's like, for some reason, he's really poor. Like, he was the heavyweight champion of the world like 10 times.
I'm
and
still
he's
trying
like
to
so
figure
poor.
out why they killed
Adrian.
his wife.
Yeah, you said Andrian.
Oh, whatever, same thing. I'm surprised they did that.
Andrian. Yeah, I don't know. I think probably that actress didn't want to make the movies. I would say that she might be the worst part of every Rocky movie. So that might be.
But
why they
in the
killed her.
script, to me, that was a strong
The
because
haircut.
my argument with Holly is Rocky's not a sports movie; it's a chick flick. Because
I think that's not correct.
It's
Yeah,
about two.
I don't think that's
No, it's about two. It's a romantic action
Comedy.
film. And because it's about them falling in love. The
See,
whole
I
movie
would
is
say
about
that
them falling in love.
My least favorite part of the entire Rocky franchise is that they feel like they have to add that. Like even Creed 2 had it as well. You know, in Creed 1, he meets Tessa Thompson, and then there's all that stuff.
Well,
Creed,
family plays a huge role in Rocky 2 and 3. Like that makes that's part of his decision making. And then Rocky 4 was even bigger because he shouldn't be fighting, but you know the Russians are challenging him, dude.
right, they killed Apollo, man. Yeah, but I just think that you
And
could
Rocky
still have that
Balboa's
there
even
without having to
bigger.
have like the 30-minute scenes with the family where he's trying to, I don't know. I think it just,
You didn't like that robot?
dude, the robot was the best part.
Yeah. But I mean, like even that famous speech that people love playing from Rocky Balboa about family, about holding his baby, his palm of his hand, all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. I mean, I think the movies, the core of the movie.
I'm sorry, holding his baby in his palm of his hand.
What he was talking about,
that
he was
right?
talking to his son when he was grown. He was talking about,
I used to put you right here in the palm of my
yeah,
hand.
he used to
Really?
fit, yeah.
He's like, it must be a little, Rocky has a big hand, maybe. I don't
Tiny baby.
know. Tiny
But
baby.
I mean, it's part of the movies, and that's why I'm saying that's kind of a cheap way. I haven't seen Creed 2. I'm very excited about seeing it
You should, definitely. But anyways,
because I love talking about movies I haven't seen.
yeah, it's the best.
Yeah.
So is he done? Is he not? Chris says no way.
No way.
If Rocky is not in the next Creed movie, then Chris will blank.
He will be. There's no way he's not going.
But if
to
he's
be.
not,
Well,
how can we punish you if he's not?
Mark this conversation right now for Little Fockers, because there's some stuff I want to talk about with
Okay.
the same idea of continuing characters. So let's remember that.
All right. Well, with that, let's transition. Are we going to try and do a little fake break here? Or are we just going to?
No, we're gonna take a break. We're
Okay.
gonna do it. So.
Okay, we're taking a break. When we come back, we are going to do our group rewind of Little Fockers. So stick with us here on the Ticket Stub.
Hey, thanks for checking out the Ticket Stub podcast. This is Dick, one of the co-hosts. We're going to do a special shout out to one of our sponsors, Amstar Cinemas, and of course the Grand Theater here in Conroe. Thank you so much for supporting the show. They're part of our ticket giveaway partners, and that means that you can win tickets to any Amstar or the Grand Theater in any area, really, every episode. So make sure to follow us on social media how to win and tune in. And again, special thanks to Amstar Cinemas and the Grand Theater for sponsoring today's show.
And we're back on the Ticket Stub. I want to remind everybody that we are embracing the new format. More about the podcast. Still playing on FM.
Yeah!
But the FM will not be a complete show, very likely. It will likely cut out and tell you to go find us on the podcast or Facebook.
So if you're listening right now on
That was a
FM, on Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1, probably the best thing for you is to subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and I want to work on Spotify.
Oh, that'd be good.
So Spotify,
Stitcher.
I got a Stitcher
What's
is
that?
another podcast
Stitcher, I barely-
subscription.
I don't even know what that is.
Well, you've been in that room too long with the smoke filling your lungs from the dead burning cats.
There we go.
And
It's affecting you.
We're all on YouTube. We're on Facebook and Facebook Live, the Ticket Stub podcast. And don't forget 2 tickets
To the Grand Theater.
to the Grand Theater every episode. So you got to tune in. You got to subscribe. You got to stick around. We're going to be talking now about Little Fockers.
Stitcher. I barely know her. Am I right, guys?
Oh, God.
And there we are.
We definitely
I
need
wanna
a
get-
female side to the show.
Oh,
I
yes,
realize
it's
I've been
so
listening
bad.
to old episodes. I'm like, man, I'm just the most sexist.
Yeah, you're terrible. Yeah, you're the
PRIC.
worst.
We
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
We should add a fourth.
I'm trying to get Holly to come, but her schedule's always hit or miss. But we'll figure it out.
Well, one thing I want to do with the new format is, since we're just going to cut off on the middle of radio, I want to like time it every episode to 55 minutes or whatever it is,
So you're like,
and then
what-
say
what
something
the
like,
far-
yeah, no, say something like, and the most important thing you could know about this movie is,
Thanks for tuning in.
yeah, there we go. Yeah, exactly. I like that. All right, Little Fockers. We all watch this together. This is our group rewind. We do it monthly, where normally we watch separate movies and each come talking about them, but once a month we come together having seen the same movie, and we try to give you heads up so that you, the listener, could watch along with us if you would like. Come with your own opinions. This month we did Little Fockers. It's from 2010. It's PG-13, hour and a half. hour and 38 minutes, unless you watch it on the E channel, which all three of us actually did.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I will say this now, and this is something that I apologize for the listeners. I'm never doing that again.
No, it was terrible.
We're never doing that again. We're gonna watch the original version of the movie, and it's because this movie, we're actually texting each other through it, going like, I feel like I'm missing a third of the movie.
The cuts were harsh. Yes.
Horrible.
Yes.
The cuts were
Especially when
harsh.
they're talking about boners and stuff. I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's getting good. And it's like, no more boners for you.
hard cut, if you know what I mean,
Yeah.
from that scene to the commercial. And and then it would come back very abruptly, not in the same place that it left off, and maybe
Right.
sometimes not with full explanation. But it's interesting. It's only an hour 38. The E version was 2 hours, so there couldn't have been that much content cut.
No, there was like 8 commercials per break. So yes, there was
I will
was
say-
a ridiculous amount of commercials.
I was watching it on my DirecTV Now, and so they have like a 15-second forward thing, and I would hit that 15-second forward like 12 times, which is 4 minutes, right? Or no, three minutes.
I have no idea.
I don't know. I would hit it like 12 to 15 times, like 5 minutes worth of tapping it, and it would still be in the middle of like a commercial and a half left.
See, for me, it wasn't that bad because I recorded it the night before off of E, so I just fast forwarded through the commercials.
Yeah, well, I did too, but it's on the computer, and so you can't. There's no remote or whatever. You have to just.
I watched it at my parents' house because I don't have cable.
Nice, millennials.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was a sweet looking house in the photo. I
Yeah,
was like,
you
man,
think I could do that, dude?
I don't know.
Give me like
I don't
40
know.
years and maybe I'll be able to do something like that.
Little Fockers, directed by Paul Weitz, right?
Weitz.
Paul. Do y'all know how to say his name? Paul Weitz. Paul Weitz. Paul Weitz.
I don't
He
know.
directed, I don't know, In Good Company, or he produced In Good Company, wrote About a Boy. I don't know that he is
Oh,
somebody
wow.
that,
Good quality work there. I wonder what the hell happened with this.
I don't know, directed Being
Well, this
Flynn,
movie was reported like
directed In Good
everyone
Company.
talked
He
crap
directed
about
About a Boy. He directed American Pie. Okay, well, look at that. He directed American Pie as well.
even Robert De Niro on his Golden Globe speech. Basically, he got like a lifetime achievement award. He's like, "Thanks for having these awards 3 weeks before Little Fockers came out because your mind might be changed."
Yeah.
So
So the cast list is very extensive. Robert De Niro, Ben Stiller, Owen Wilson, Dustin Hoffman, Barbara Streisand, Blythe Danner, Terry Polo, who's Pam Fokker, Jessica Alba, Laura Dern, Kevin Hart, Harvey
pretty-
Keitel.
yeah,
Yeah.
this movie
Yeah.
reminded me of one of those movies that they had a script line around and they wanted to continue, and they go, "Let's just have fun with it."
Yeah.
And let's call our buddies Harvey. Why was Harvey Keitel in this show? He was in it for 2 scenes.
He was the maintenance or the
He was the
construction man.
construction guy.
But very accurate
G-
portrayal
I
of a
want-
contractor.
I want to ask this to you guys: what do you think the budget was?
Oh, I know this. Well,
Okay, do you know the budget, Chris?
I do not know.
So, what do you think the budget for Little Fockers 2010 was?
I'm gonna say the budget was a 50 million.
Double it.
double it.
Are
100,
you kidding me?
100 million.
Wow.
100 million, dude.
100 million.
And what was funny, and
That's
I'm going to pull up
crazy.
the numbers real quick while we were talking.
This is how we know that Dick doesn't read the things I send out, Chris.
Yeah.
Because I had one section saying, "Did this movie make money?" Don't look it up. I will tell you.
right. yes.
Oh, yeah, I totally read that. Actually, no, I only
So
read
we
the
have to
first.
guess.
I only read the news.
Well,
Yes.
then,
That was
no,
it.
well,
have,
then,
have you already looked up how much it made?
well,
No, I have it
Don't.
pulled up, but
Well,
I'm not gonna.
Okay.
then.
So,
Well, can we just skip to that question?
Let's do it right now, yeah.
I'm gonna say it absolutely. I did not know the budget was 100 million.
100
There's
million.
no way that it made money.
Okay.
I'm gonna say it made 70 tops total run.
It made $148 million.
Oh my god.
Okay, so this is
Wow,
what
so
I
it
want to kind of
did
focus
make
on.
It did make money.
One thing was I want to talk about real quick why we wanted to watch this movie.
Please let us know.
So when I found out this movie existed, like I guess 2 months ago, I had zero recollection of ever existing. And you figured this would be kind of a big budget movie where it get on my radar going, they're making a third one for Meet the
$100
Parents.
million.
And I'm like, I did not know they made this. And I will say at 2010, I was just graduated from college and I was coming home working. And I was like, I guess I didn't pay attention to movies during that time. But it completely shocked me that it came out in 2010 because the original Meet the Parents, when
Like
that movie
02,
came out,
right?
yeah, 2000.
2000.
And then 2004 for Meet the Fockers, and then Little Fockers. It's 2010. That's what kind of shocked me, and I really wanted to watch it, but I wanted an excuse. And we were talking at that time about what movies have we all not seen. I was like, I guarantee we haven't seen Little Fockers because I didn't even know that movie existed.
You were correct. I actually
And-
thought I had seen it, but then I had seen Meet the Fockers, not Little Fockers.
Right.
Yeah. So I got those two confused.
Well, I want to do this real quick. Let's rewind. All
Yeah.
right, so 2000, Little Focker or Meet the Parents comes out. So that movie costs the $55 million. That movie costs $55 million.
Okay.
It grossed in the United States alone, $166 million. So worldwide, 330 million.
Okay,
So
that's a lot of money.
that's 2,000 right there. That's pretty good. So then Meet the Fockers comes out, and it is the highest grossing Robert De Niro movie.
Little Fockers is?
No, Meet the Fockers.
Oh, Meet the Fockers.
So that movie cost.
But you know what the second one is? Marvin's Room.
Yeah, do you really know that? Or are you just pulling that out of your butt?
That's not right.
So 80 million for Meet the Fockers.
Okay.
That's what it costs.
Yeah.
Worldwide gross, $500
Oh my
million.
gosh. It was Robert De Niro's highest
half
grossing.
$1 billion for Meet the Fockers. And that's what kind of shocked me because when they did Little Fockers, I had no idea it came out.
And Meet the Fockers was not particularly good. Meet the Parents was a great movie.
I thought it was
I
pretty
think
good.
they had the good angles with the character. I mean, having Robert De Niro and Blythe, I forget her last
Danner.
name, Danner as the conservative parents, and then you have
Barbra
the
Streisand.
Barbra Streisand as the sex teacher,
Yeah.
and then I didn't really understand what Robert De Niro did. Not Robert De Niro, Dustin Hoffman, the dad.
I don't think he did much.
What did he do? Because they have a lot of money, it seemed like.
Yeah, but I think she like got famous with her sex
Talk
show,
show,
or whatever.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, she's like Suze. You know who I'm talking about? They had that old like in college who'd flip around and be like sex talk with Suze.
Yeah.
or whatever.
I mean, that was.
that's like how she is.
And I will
That's where you
say-
got your tips from.
And I think before we get into Little Fockers, I will say I enjoyed these movies. Like
Yeah.
as a whole,
These
like,
are not bad.
these are not bad movies.
Even this one, which is the worst, I would say, is not bad. It's just
Yeah.
like kind of
Well, one thing, like looking at all as a series, was interesting to me is the writing can really go to a really bad place or a really strong place because you're having the same characters reenact with each other, or re-encounter each other at special events. Like for example, they had Dr. Bob.
Yeah.
Because if you remember the first one, Meet the Parents, Dr. Bob was the son-in-law, the other son-in-law to Robert De Niro's character, and he loved him. And Ben Stiller's always like, oh, he's not going to like me as much as Dr. Bob. And then in Little Fockers, basically Dr. Bob divorced the daughter,
yeah.
which sad to say, the actress passed away.
Mm.
So that's why she wasn't in Little Fockers or the other one.
That's why they had to villainize Dr. Bob.
Or Beat the Fockers.
He's the real victim here. Is that he got cut out of the movie.
the actress passed away.
What?
Yeah, and it's a really sad case. But Holly was all into it because she died of pneumonia all of a sudden, and so it wasn't
Holly
like
was really into it.
well, no, Holly's really likes to go understand why people die, and
Oh,
so it's part of the being.
All right, well,
well, anyway, I wanted to say that
oh,
because it's
sorry.
interesting because you look at the beginning at Meet the Parents,
Okay.
and now we end with Little Fockers. And
Yes.
so, how did we get here?
How did we? Get
Did
here?
we? end
Or
with
did
Little-
we?
Did we?
I think 8 years
All right,
later, we're
let's
safe to say
that.
it's done.
Say we're at the pitch room. How would you pitch the fourth Meet the Parents movie?
It's the kids. That's what you got to do. The fourth Meet the Parents. I don't remember what birthday it was for these twins.
Well, I think what
Like,
you could do.
You say it's you say they're 18 and going to college or something and call it like college Fockers or something.
What you could do, you can make a joke. What you could do is
Actually, I'm in. I'm all in.
no. The dynamic is the twins. Because they're twins. They're 16, 17, and it's meeting the parents of the first girlfriend boyfriend.
Yeah.
And that's always a fun
prom
time.
night. Prom night.
Yeah, prom night.
Taking the girl to prom.
And that's what you could do. And then so you realize you can multiply the cast by like a lot because you can have how many grandparents does everyone have? They have 2 sets.
Oh
So you
yeah.
have all those grandparents. Oh, you could that's actually I could see that being a movie.
I feel like we should have talked about this off air, so now that idea could be stolen.
Oh, that's fine.
You're
That's
right.
fine with me.
Like
Hey.
we could have written it.
Hey, I'm not trying to make money. I just want to see the movie.
Hey,
That's all I care
let's
about.
call let's call Cassie Doyle. We'll get her to write a treatment for it, and we'll submit it to
Yeah.
Lifetime for a because that'll be as much.
What
of
are we gonna call it? College Fockers?
I think if they're in college,
No,
college Fockers.
what do you
is a great
call it when you
title.
meet? I mean, you could call it Meet the Parents, but then no, you're getting.
Why are you
you're
saying your
getting-
idea is better than my idea? Going to college. Why is that not as good as?
Well, because you want the whole idea of these shows is they're meeting somebody, right? Little Fockers is derailed from the original concept, so they're meeting people.
Yeah.
So we're bringing it back. They're meeting the family of their daughter's boyfriend.
How about they're in college and they go home for the weekend to meet each other's college boyfriends' parents?
Or the
Dude,
daughter,
that's
the
better.
daughter gets pregnant out of wedlock.
Oh,
And then now they got to meet
By
the
her-
parents because they're forcing them to get married. And then we can have that little challenge at the end. It's like, well, they don't have to get married
it's true. It's
because that's progressive right there.
2018.
That's
right.
progressive.
Boom.
It's bastard Fockers.
That would, there you go.
Boom. Cassie, where you at?
No, did you, okay,
Start
I,
typing.
I don't know. I didn't read your layout thing. Did
Of
you
course,
read how
yeah.
much trouble Universal, or I forget Universal, who was doing the graphics and the advertising? How
No,
much,
but look,
how much trouble they got in for
kind
Little
of.
Fockers?
Okay, no, I didn't know
On
about.
the posters, like certain areas of different countries, they couldn't
No.
have it at like a certain font type.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah, because it looked too close, so they're trying to rename it like KKERS or something like that. And it got down to like they had to change the way everything went out.
Oh goodness, that's ridiculous. Okay, overall thoughts. Let's do these kind of. We've already talked a fair amount, so I don't know that we have a whole lot else to say. I would say it's as most trilogies, the third is usually the weakest of the set. I would say that's probably true for this one as well. But it wasn't bad. It had funny moments. My only thing is like you'd think by now the family would have kind of, if I were putting myself in their universe, you think by now they wouldn't still be doing this, right? Where like grandpa's undermining son-in-law and.
Well, I don't know. It started off strong in a sense of Greg and Robert De Niro's character were already good. Like they seemed to be good friends. And that's why he's the Godfucker.
Maybe we should read this. Here's the IMDb plot. Family patriarch Jack Burns wants to appoint a successor. Does his son-in-law, the male nurse Greg Focker, have what it takes?
And what's weird about that is that didn't seem like the movie to me. Maybe the first 20 minutes, and then it just derailed from that. It became more of, watch out for Owen Wilson. He's secretly in love.
The problem with this movie is that the characters they're pretty much doing impressions of themselves from the first movie. There's no like they all went back to just being a parody.
I feel awful of Terry Polo because like her character had no development throughout all three movies.
She looked ill, didn't she? I mean, she kind of did. I mean, I know one scene she was ill. Well, maybe that was the point.
I don't know, but she was definitely there with no purpose. She was there to tie Ben Stiller to the family.
Well, it's almost like the production of it where they go, hey, we got a script. Let's try to make it. And then they kind of like send out a check to everybody going like, hey, do you want to be in it? He's like, yeah, I can be in about 5 days. That's all I got. And like, even that's why I read about Dustin Hoffman's character. He didn't want to do it because they changed directors and he didn't want to be in the movie because the director changed from the originals. And then he finally signed on after production already started. And that's when you watch the movie. It seems like, they're doing the Spider-Man gig where Tony Stark's always on the phone, and so he didn't have to actually be there. The whole movie actually was filmed in Los Angeles.
Really?
Yes, the whole movie. So I think the Terry Polo thing, what you said, is out of convenience. Like she could be there for a couple days, then we'll do a scene of her in bed being sick. I mean that's the shortcuts people take just to get Little Fockers on the silver screen.
Yeah, but Chris, I totally agree that it feels like they were caricaturizing themselves, where everything was a call. It seems like almost everything was a callback to something else that had happened. But to me, just like Jack is still like, he still doesn't trust Greg. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I get that Greg always finds himself in these bad situations.
Dr. Bob.
Yeah, and other things, not just Dr. Bob. It was his.
Because Dr. Bob cheated on his daughter, and he had this whole question about who are these people.
Oh, so that shook his faith.
I think that's why it started, because especially how too convenient Jessica Alba or Andy Garcia's character, Jessica Alba came in. Like
her name was Andy Garcia.
Yeah, her name was Andy Garcia, and they played on a joke about Andy Garcia. But we're all guys here, and I would love to get some listener input about this. Have you ever felt being put in these situations where your significant other is always going to look at it as a negative thing? Because that whole relationship between Andy Garcia and Greg Focker was really weird to me in a sense of, like, she was attractive, and she's a drug sales rep, so she's always involved with his business work. But then it escalated really fast, where she's taking the boner pills.
Yeah, what was that?
I asked
she
Holly,
took like 4 boner pills.
and I asked Holly that. I was like, because they're beta blockers.
Yeah.
So beta blockers essentially are like Xanax and stuff like that.
Okay.
And so when you're drunk or whatever, it suppresses some things, so you get high off of it. And I was like, oh, so that's why she's taking it. And she's like, yeah, but she's like, what's going on though? Why is she like? She never really seemed like she was really attractive to Greg. She just seemed very flirtatious because she's a drug rep.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden she's getting naked and jumping on him, and then
not naked, getting undressed.
Yeah.
And she squirrel dove on him into like a 12-foot.
Well, actually, I had a good laugh at that scene. I had a good laugh because that's what knocked him out. I was like,
that would have been painful though.
But again, like that to me, that whole character there was a lot more room to work with.
Yeah.
And they just kind of did especially Jessica Alba. I wonder how much money she got paid, because I always thought she was one of those people who kind of doesn't like doing just the sex scenes, but all of her stuff was sexualized.
You never saw Honey, I guess.
This is by far her best performance in a film, without a doubt.
as someone who's seen all of her films.
I have actually.
Well, that's why I remember her making the rounds about Sin City and how she, didn't like the sexualization, but as part of the, that kind of thing, like her as an actress making choices. That's why you don't really see her in that many movies because all they want to do is just have her take her shirt off. And
she was comfortable doing that in this movie.
yeah. And it was just kind of, and I loved is when they woke up from the pit and how quick the Dustin Hoffman's character went with it.
Yeah.
Because
he's an open-minded dude.
Oh, I just like that. 'Cause I was like, all right, because you think that'd be really embarrassing. Your dad shows up, and of course Greg's got to explain why this girl's half naked, all that kind of stuff. And then he's
like, oh, I know nothing happened.
Well, no,
we don't roll like that.
And then the first thing he does is when they're introduced, like, oh, you're Garcia. Is that from blah 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 of Spain? Oh, yes, it is. My grandparents. Oh, so you know how to dance, and they start dancing.
Seville. I was just in Seville.
While she's zipping up her skirt, they're dancing.
Yeah. Well, she's attractive, I guess. Okay. I don't know.
Well, no, actually, no. That's something I had to ask.
She is indeed.
And this is part of the whole 3 movies. I don't really recall Meet the Fockers. Were they married? Is Barbara Streisand and Dustin Hoffman's character married?
Yes.
So in this one, were they divorcing, or was it like, oh, they're having a midlife crisis?
It was, yeah. She had her TV show, and I think he felt like he just wanted to go do something for himself.
Yeah, he said something about how he was the trophy husband or something, and he was trying to find his passion.
Okay, because I couldn't really connect to it. I was trying to listen, and I was like, wasn't really fully understanding.
That's part of that. What you said with Dustin Hoffman, they were just trying to work him into the movie somehow.
Because it didn't feel concrete to me, and especially when she was holding that gag ball on the phone, I got really distracted with that scene because I was like, wait a second, now she's selling
musical condoms.
Now she's the musical. I mean, like there were some good gags in this movie.
Yeah.
But a lot of it was just very surprising because I thought it was like kind of like a family movie, but no.
Okay, let's talk about this. This movie came out December 22nd, 2010. The poster for Little Fockers appears to be a Christmas present wrapped with a bow. The photos that they have of all of the actors appear to be behind greenery, different things like that maybe could be garland or a Christmas tree, things like it.
Well, it came out Christmas Day.
No, it came out December 22nd,
or
2010.
Christmas weekend or whatever.
This seemed like it was a Christmas movie until you start watching it.
Yeah.
And then there is not one mention of Christmas. Hold on. For the last 5 minutes of the movie, it flashes to 4 months ahead where there's Christmas lights and it's Christmas dinner and everything like that. The majority, 99% of this movie takes place, I guess, in August. And
well, you do know that the end of the movie did kind of get sneak of like, oh, we're going to make a 4th one where we all move in together.
Why did they make this? Yeah. Why did they make this seem like it was a Christmas movie from the advertising and the release date and everything like that?
Because it was released in Christmas.
Yeah.
But how stupid is that? I don't know. It's just I went into this thinking it was a Christmas movie.
Well, I bet it added quite a substantial amount to the gross of the movie.
Oh, like the advertising, the way they did that?
Yeah,
probably
definitely.
so. Why not just make it a Christmas movie then? You think they meant to release it in December?
You didn't even say that. You said 150 million?
Yeah.
Worldwide, it made 300 million.
Oh my God.
300 million.
Yeah, that's what you said. 300 million.
Yeah.
Okay, that's crazy.
So that's even crazier knowing how crappy this movie was.
But why not just make it at Christmas then? If it's going to pretend to be a Christmas movie and it's going to masquerade, these plot points could have happened at Christmas.
Like we talk about movies and
I guess you couldn't have had the birthday
from A
party.
to Z of the movie making process. This is more of like the V area because it's like it's in the hands of
the marketing and
it's
stuff.
in the hands of marketing after the movie's already made. And they're like, hey, when y'all want to release this movie? Oh, everyone loves Meet the Parents. So really any time of the year, oh, well, we can make an extra 20 million if we do it at Christmas time because all these other movies are coming out.
And we'll put a little bow on the poster and then it'll be, this. What was that movie where it had the 4 different plots happening at the same time? That was a Christmas movie.
Definitely maybe Christmas version.
No, that was a
Love
one.
Actually.
Love Actually. Yeah, the poster reminds me of that poster where it's just white background, little Christmassy bow on it. All right, let's talk about this. Who won the movie? Who was the best?
Ooh.
Who was the best part?
Jessica Alba by far.
Oh, come on, be serious.
No, I am
Chris.
being serious.
You are red-blooded.
Well, she was.
I am being serious.
She was like attractive lady amplified by 11 because she was like hugging all the time.
Yeah.
She's like knock it. There were some funny things with that. I think what was again there wasn't enough time to expand her character because you think about the scene where he goes and does the speech and then they're having a drink and then the Sonic guy comes up and starts hitting on her and that confused me. I thought that was the boyfriend.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is gonna be funny, but then it's like, no, she's talking about Greg to be the pretend boyfriend.
That was
and then she posted it on MySpace.
Yeah, why did she do that?
Like,
Yeah.
and that's one thing I was trying to figure out.
Why did you take that photo?
Was she a bad person?
Yes.
I didn't really get that until
No.
like I heard
She abused drugs. She tried to ruin a marriage.
Well, no, like seriously,
She-
what you think her intention was right when she met Greg?
Yeah, but
was
in
like
today's
I'm
time,
attracted
that's
to
not
this
that
guy because I thought
She's a
her
bad-
character leading up till she started taking the boner pills is she's just like a flirtatious drug rep,
She's a
and
predator.
even Holly says
She's a predator.
Even Holly goes, you know, these drug reps, this is what they do. I'm like, what? Try to sleep with you? And she's like, no, like they try to bring you anything. They're very charismatic towards you. Like if it's a woman, that she'll try to be like bring us food and all this kind of stuff. And I kind of laughed at that. I was like, so you're telling me if it was a hunky dude, he'd come in and be like, you want to go out on a date? You want to do all stuff? Just like and
Well, yeah. Well, when they were at that restaurant, and she pretended to be engaged to Greg, and she's like, "Oh, I slept with that guy. We started doing tequila shots. No, go buy me a margarita." And it's like,
Yeah.
"Oh,
And,
okay."
that's what I'm saying. Like, they didn't even have time to like say why is she doing a downward spiral as a human being?
Yeah, what's going on in her life?
And especially when
She seemed very happy.
because there was the scene. There was a scene in the
was
later in
just
the
the
movie. Remember,
drug abuse.
Basically, they had the blow up. They had the climax blow up between the grandfather and Greg Focker. Because basically, to me, Jack Burns, Robert De Niro's character, did something that's almost unforgivable. Basically, went up to his daughter and said, "You need to find a new
Yeah,
husband.
you need to divorce this guy and marry this guy.
And that's crazy to me.
Yeah.
Like, and that happens. So Ben Stiller gets upset. So he goes to stay at the house they're building. And then Jessica Alba's character drops him off. I'm like, good. They're not going to go anymore down the
yeah,
stupid.
it's like, you want some wine and
stereotypical-
Thai food?
And then she shows back up.
Yeah,
And I'm like, come on, dude. Like, this is.
she's a predator. I'm telling you. Yeah, she's a bad person.
So she's a bad person.
Oh, 100%. But Chris loves it though. He's all in.
I was,
You really think she was the best part of this movie?
I do, yeah. And I think it was her best performance, and I'm not kidding.
Okay.
I'm not
If she was
kidding.
ugly, Chris would
Man,
not have said that.
What's
got-
that
you got
movie
some
with
weird,
Good Luck Chuck or
yeah.
something?
Yeah.
She wasn't as good in Good Luck Chuck as she was.
Well, that was a terrible movie.
It's probably because she had
I like
different
that
color underwear on. That's probably what your issue was.
you big Dane Cook
you little,
guy.
you little
I like Dane
bastard.
Cook.
Or fat Fokker bastards or whatever.
Dick, who won the movie for you?
It'd be a combination. I think Owen Wilson's character to me was just so outrageous. But then again, that was Owen Wilson. I don't
Yeah.
really know. Like it's almost like he was just playing himself. I really liked Owen Wilson, and then I think Ben Stiller did a great job
Yeah.
for being, kind of like what is that word where they're always like
Yeah, like high strung or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, Owen Wilson was it for me. He was the best in all three of the movies, in my opinion. I just love his character. I mean, maybe it's kind of like him, but he's like this ridiculous, wealthy, but like fake humble, but like can do everything. That scene where he's on like the little Cirque du Soleil acrobatic pole or whatever at the birthday party. And he's
Well,
got
what was the
face paint
significant?
on.
The thing I didn't really get. There's a
Little
shot in that
sunburst
scene.
costume.
There's a shot in that scene where he cries.
Yeah.
But why
And
did
it
they
drips.
focus? Why did they focus on the drip?
I don't know because I
'Cause
thought he was gonna
slip.
Yeah, so did
or
I.
do
I thought he was gonna,
something.
but then he just falls from like maybe it's a bait and switch. Like you think he's gonna slip and then he just falls from 30 feet up or something.
I don't know,
Yeah,
but
focus on the teardrops
but
hitting
he,
the
he
canvas.
definitely the way they wrote his character was really funny, and it was an ongoing gag. That's one thing I liked about that character because you can always if the scene's getting dry, you introduce Owen Wilson to
yeah,
it,
he
and he's just goofy, and
Yeah.
that's why I was wondering for his character. The E version we watched, does he hook up with Jessica Alba at the end? That's where I thought they were going.
maybe he does in the real movie, but
don't know.
because they did the whole scene where it's like, oh, what's your name? You know, like where
Yeah.
they meet at the very last minute,
Yeah.
and it's kind of like, oh, well, you two, because the whole plot's about how he's lonely and his bubble bottomed Russian girlfriend leaves him when he proposes or whatever, and so then he's lonely, and that's why he comes and brings the tension back with Pamela. And it seemed as if they were going to get together, but the E version did not provide us with that payoff. Are you trying to look it up right now?
I'm just curious because again, we watched that E version and like things got cut off.
We should not have watched the E version.
No.
we've
I
failed
did.
listeners.
I'm sorry, guys. I will try to do better next time we choose a movie.
Chris, who's the most useless character
For me,
you?
it was Owen Wilson.
What?
Yes, I didn't. I thought he was a distraction. I didn't
Yeah,
really
a
care
funny
for-
distraction.
No, not really. I didn't really see where he furthered the plot.
Well, I don't know. He provided the.
Well,
need
I
for
think
the-
that was kind of a curse in this movie was they had 3 or 4 plots going and they couldn't for example, like the number one reason this movie I thought was written is because Jack Burns, Robert De Niro's character, is worried about his genealogy and the future of the Burns clan.
Yeah.
Like I thought that was the core part of the movie. Like they make so many phone call or different scenes of showing him doing the research. They even shouted at the end. That was really funny to me.
Yeah,
when they brought that back.
They bought him, and he's like
And he's
123rd Jewish.
Jewish or something
one
like
of the
that.
one of the funniest scenes in the whole movie is they give him the genealogy and they say, "You're 123rd Jewish." He goes, "Well, I dispute the claim. I appreciate the gift." Like he refuses to believe that he's Jewish.
I disagree with the results. Yeah.
But no, and like, and then the other plot was
Robert De Niro.
You know, the other plot was the husband and wife. And did you notice the little subtle things they talked about their relationship? But like when they were doing the Barbara Streisand show and stuff, like they talked about how they're not sleeping together.
Yeah,
Like I didn't get that at all during the movie.
they seem very in love.
Yeah, and then like when they do little things like that, I'm like, wait a second, were they having issues? Were they having marital issues?
I think they were leading you on to think so, maybe.
But they didn't seem like that in the actual scenes together.
No, I mean, I think the movie was trying to lead you that direction so that you might think he
Because
would
he only
hook up
tells
with
his
Alba.
mom that he's having problems. Is that what you're trying to tell
Or
me?
maybe she just is maybe mom needs to get out of son's business a little bit.
I would think so. Yeah.
Well, I did like that. Never mind, I can't say it on the FM, but you know the scene where they're on the phone. He's on the phone with her,
Yeah.
and then they pull the dad on the phone, and they're all having like a 3-way phone call in the car,
Mm-hmm.
and they're talking about his chronic arthritis problem he's having. Like I'm telling you, there were some good gags in this movie that you had to pay attention to.
Dick,
So
most useless character for you.
most useless. Oof, that is a great question.
Well, you think I'm gonna say Dustin Hoffman, and that was, I mean,
I don't know, man. I liked his little dance stuff.
No,
and
no, that was-
he brought me some laughs.
I don't know, that was kind of dumb to me. And now that you say that he was tacked on at the very last minute, it makes more sense because it's the Spider-Man thing where he's on the phone. It's the Iron Man thing where he's on the phone a few times, and then he shows up in the last scene for
No,
like
really the most,
5 minutes, and there's no reason really for him to be there.
it would be what's her name, Laura Dern.
Oh, the school
Like,
school
I
principal.
didn't really like. I thought they were gonna continue on with that, but they did not continue on. She was in like 2 scenes,
just a little
and it
cameo.
made no sense.
The Early Humans Center or whatever.
Yeah.
They don't call them
Yeah.
children; they call them early humans.
Well, I mean, and then, I mean, it's just one of those things that I get the idea because you need to create a scenario to move the storyline on, but
I like how the son was an idiot, but the daughter was like a savant.
oh yeah. Well,
She's like, hey, I think
Yeah,
that
and
looks
by
fun.
the way, those kids are clearly at least 2 years apart in age. I don't know what they
The-
were
the
doing.
yeah,
girl's older?
That did throw me off that they said they were twins.
Yeah, this was
Well,
3
and that-
minutes
and
apart.
that was again another storyline that didn't pan out. Like I thought that another conflict they were going to run into is the daughter gets in and the son doesn't. And
Yeah, but they never came back to
But
it.
families really encounter that scenario
Yeah.
when they're trying to get into those big school or those expensive schools. It's like, yeah, I can totally see that happening, especially with twins.
Yeah,
So
but they didn't revisit that either.
No.
There was
that's
a lot.
why
Of,
the most useless character is Laura Dern, man.
there you go. Okay.
we cannot run clips. Is that correct?
We can run the audio. I can run the audio.
It's not worth it. You got to see it.
You got to see it to
Physical
believe it.
comedy.
All right, well, let's do this. I created a little thing called Tank or Bank, and what I want us to talk about is: did this movie tank anybody's career, or did this movie take anybody to the bank?
I don't think it tanked anybody's career. This is right in Ben Stiller's wheelhouse. So I think we got what we expected from pretty much everybody.
I think what it did, it gave another reason how Terry Polo's career hasn't done anything
well, she's on
since the first one.
that TV show where she's a
I'm talking about movies though, dude.
lesbian cop. Well, this might have helped.
Maybe we could call Hallmark and be like, "Yo, Terry Polo, she needs a job. Make her into lesbian."
She doesn't need a job. She's on another thing. I'm gonna look it up.
Okay, look it up. Chris, Dick, do you think it tanked anybody?
I mean, honestly, like the Terry Polo thing, I was surprised that the first one didn't.
But she wasn't that famous before. Like the
Well, no,
the
she
Fockers
literally
movies
did,
are the only ones
She
that
did
really.
Meet the Parents,
Yeah.
and then she did Playboy right afterwards.
Okay.
So, like, I think I'm just saying, like, this just gives you another thing. Like, nothing really happened to her career.
Yeah.
So, tanking it though, I think every major actor in it was too strong to start with.
Yeah.
Any major character. I mean, think about it. You got Robert De Niro, Ben Stiller, Owen Wilson, Dustin Hoffman, Barbara Streisand, Blythe Danner, who is possibly like the most underbilled person there because she's only in a couple scenes. And I did like the scene where she's trying to get frisky. See,
Yeah.
I think that was why we're watching the E version. I think there was more to that scene. 'Cause
Maybe.
Did it imply that Robert De Niro fulfilled his duties?
Yeah, it did.
It implied that.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really funny, but I was like, I bet.
He suffered from the 4 hour or more.
Yeah. He's
He
like, oh,
needs to go to the
5.5, give or
doctor.
take.
Have to relieve the pressure.
And and again, like everyone in the movie were strong enough actors. Like Laura Dern, why was she in this movie?
Just a cameo, I guess.
I mean, that has to be because she's a fantastic actress too. And Kevin Hart, we can say that it probably helped his career and say he kept work until he got bigger and bigger and bigger. I mean, you know how big he's a leading man now, I would say, in comedies and
Yeah.
stuff.
Well, we're not to the bank part yet. All right.
Okay.
We're taking him to the bank. Chris, convince me that this did not, or this at least in part didn't tank Jessica Alba's career. Convince me of that.
Well, what else has she been in? Really?
It did not tank her career. She got pregnant, and
So you know, like the
a little bit. I know a little bit about it, but so she really was like focusing kids, and then she did that. I think it's like a food line or a water line or something like that. She had a or clothes or something.
It's something commercial wise.
Okay, yeah. So she started focusing on that. I think she's still got a career.
The movie after Little Fockers she did was Spy Kids 4.
Yeah, that was her next choice.
So, and then I would say the most legit thing she did. I'm trying to find one.
She was in Machete Kills, which was not good. She was in Sin City, A Dame to Kill For, which I think was bad by accounts. She was in one of the Mechanic, when they tried to bring Mechanic back. She was in that.
Yeah.
And then a bunch of like random, episodes of television or Taylor Swift Bad Blood videos.
No, I think she's just focusing on family.
No, she's been in a bunch of stuff, man.
Yeah, but a bunch of stuff that no one's ever seen though.
She does like 3 movies a year.
Yeah, but like 3
She was in one of your buddy Pierce's movie, Pierce Brosnan's.
Which one was that?
Some Kind of Beautiful.
I did not see that film.
A drama about a Cambridge poetry professor who begins to reevaluate his life.
Yeah, my point isn't that she stopped acting. My point is that she stopped acting in anything anybody ever cared to see.
Well, it's
but Little Fockers wasn't the deciding factor.
Just convince me that it didn't play a part. Because here's the year
she was awesome in that movie.
She was not awesome, Chris. That's ridiculous to say that.
She was. It was not ridiculous. She was awesome in the movie. The movie made a crap ton of money.
I'll never forget when she took the boner pill because they did it so quick.
Yeah.
And I was like, I even asked Holly, I was like, did she just take that? What's it called? What do they even call it?
Like Sestingo.
Yeah, I was like, did she just take Sestingo? Like, what?
I mean, Chris, she was not one of the best like couple of performances in this movie.
I thought she was. I thought she had good energy, and she actually was convincing as an actress, which is really rare for her. I mean, I'm
not gonna lie. I think she's been in the same role at least 2 other movies where she gets drunk and she falls around. In her underwear.
But it's not done very well.
Let me just read
it's not tasteful enough.
Yeah. So in the 5 years leading up to Little Fockers, she was in Sin City, Fantastic Four, Into the Blue, Good Luck Chuck, Love Guru was kind of stupid. Valentine's
She's
Day.
a main person in Love Guru. She plays the opposite of
Valentine's Day, the original Machete, and then she was in Little Fockers, at which point she was in Spy Kids 4, Sin City 2, Some Kind of Beautiful, which was wonderful, I'm sure.
Yeah, but when did she have the kid?
Well, I don't know when she had a kid.
We need to look
but
that
people
up
have kids all the time. People have kids all the time and then come back to
it's
work.
like right after Little Fockers. And
I'm looking it up.
Look it up. All right, let's move on to bank. Who went to the bank after this movie? Dick, you already mentioned.
No.
No.
Well, I think what we have to reevaluate this question is it's not necessarily the movie projecting them to the bank. It's more of like who's clearly done a lot better today.
Yeah,
that was in this movie.
Like this movie was a stepping stone to their career, like taking off. And I think Kevin Hart is an obvious. I think Kevin Hart's an obvious.
I think we even say it because when we saw him in it, I was surprised. I was like, "Whoa, Kevin Hart's in this movie!" But it's a minor role. He plays one of the underlings to.
Yeah, he was like a second nurse in charge or whatever. What's great about Kevin Hart?
That scene where they're putting the tube up the butt.
Oh man,
Yeah,
that was the weirdest.
Yeah,
scene.
Jessica Alba and him were like, yeah,
It's
relax.
like imagine being a desert flower, accepting the water to take your bloom. And
What's great about Kevin Hart, which I'm kind of overexposed to him and now, which is goes to show how much he's risen to prominence. But in this movie, he's still, even though he's a small character, like he hasn't really changed that. Like it's not like he used to be terrible and now like he's kind of the same even then. He's got facial expressions, a lot of physical comedy. To your point, he's just I don't know. He's just kind of a funny guy. I definitely think this movie probably was at least a part. I mean, he got a fair amount of screen time, not a lot, but I mean, several scenes he was in, and I think he was really funny in the scenes he was in, and I think that probably helped his career. The other one I'll say is, and this is probably like super ridiculous, but Jordan Peele was like an EMT in one of the scenes.
He?
Yeah, like very minor role. But this was like a year before Key and Peele took off. Was Little Fockers, so I have no idea if that was at all related. Probably not, but at least it was a small stepping stone. Chris, do you have anybody you'd say this helped kind of move things forward for?
No.
Everybody's
Kevin
pretty
Hart. I mean, I agree with that.
But everybody, the one problem with this movie is everybody's pretty established.
So I'm looking at it right now for your obsession with Jessica Alba.
Seriously.
She had a kid in 2008, she had a kid in 2011, and she had a kid in 2017.
Well, that explains everything.
She had a kid in 2008 and made like 4 movies after that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
but-
then in 2010 when this movie was released, so it was probably really made in 2009. So
What-
I don't know what you're talking about. What are you trying to
No, I'm
say?
saying if she is pregnant,
She would have had a child when this movie was being filmed,
well,
and movies before it.
The pictures of her
She was
eldest. Look at this stuff.
This was her
This
post-child.
is Wikipedia, so I don't know if this is true. They said the first pictures of their eldest daughter from 2008 one got paid $1.5 million to
my God.
appear in.
well,
OK
then why
magazine.
would she be making movies?
I don't know. That's a lot of money.
Well,
Yeah.
I think what this is, and especially if we knew the phone, like the actual pulse of Hollywood, this movie really reminded me of everyone calling everybody, going, "Hey, do me a favor, do me a favor." Like Harvey Keitel was in this movie, guys. Like, why is he in this movie?
That doesn't make any sense.
So, and that's what kind of like blows my mind because I could see Kevin Hart being in it because it's a good job. He get paid, probably I don't know what he was doing in 2009. I think he was still doing stand up. So,
Okay, she was in El Camino Christmas. That's a Tim Allen movie
When?
last year.
Oh,
Tim Allen.
no
made
one.
movies.
It was on Netflix.
No one cares or has seen that movie except for you.
I have seen.
But I feel like this movie was definitely they get paid a good check because it cost $100 million to make.
Yeah.
And I doubt it's because of the sets because that end party set was okay. I gotta ask this too. There's two problems I was trying to connect, and the first problem I was wondering wasn't Owen Wilson's character, I think by the end of Meet the Fockers, like over the girl,
Over. Oh yeah.
over Terry Polo's character.
I thought so.
But like I will, and I thought it was more of like they had a conversation with Greg. Like they had a conversation like you need to stop doing this weird
Yeah.
stuff.
And now he's back doing it weird again.
And like to the top.
yeah, got her
Like
stamp.
got a tattoo of the face. Oh, I was trying to tell a dude with my grandmother, but I was drunk and handed a picture of her. And then he throws this ridiculous party for the twins, like over the top. And I'm thinking to myself, like, you think this joke would have gotten old by the time, but it just kept getting better and better.
It
and-
seems like if you were Greg, you'd be like, stop hanging out with this guy. Like you're like Terry Polo. You're not allowed to hang
No,
out.
I even
afraid I'd
I had
have
this
to put my
conversation with
foot down.
I had this
Yeah.
conversation with Holly about it, and I go, well, you have to give it the benefit of the doubt in the sense that they've been best friends. So imagine like your best friend being a girl, and she needs to hang out with you because Holly was like, I wouldn't be happy with you hanging out with somebody like the opposite sex by yourselves.
Yeah.
And I was like, well,
I feel like that makes sense.
because we're talking about
Yeah.
the Jessica Alba character. Because what do you do if somebody like? Because I thought that's what we were gonna go with. Her character was gonna be so depressed that she comes to Greg, basically saying like, "My life's a mess. I get drunk and I sleep with guys. Like you're a nice guy. Thanks for listening." I thought that's where they were gonna go with it, but no, they didn't. But I was like, well, you got to be you had to leave an open mind with some people, right? Like say that was her best friend. Your best friend's at opposite end of the opposite end. Like, what do you do with your significant other? She's gonna be jealous the whole time. Every time you hang out.
I think once you get married, you probably just stop hanging out one-on-one with opposite sex people.
Definitely.
No matter what, even if it's like your best friend since kindergarten.
I think probably so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
I think
Mhm.
probably so.
No, like
Yeah.
say that person was your best man in the wedding. 'Cause that's happened.
Yeah, but I just think you hang out like in groups. Like you can still like talk and stuff.
Really,
but
you guys set those kind of rules with each other.
I just think
see,
you
I
should. I don't know that you
Yeah.
have to. I just
No,
think that you
I mean, like, I don't get me wrong. I think the Jessica Alba scenario is completely valid. Don't hang out with that kind of person. Like,
Yeah.
don't do that, man. Like, it's completely understandable.
only hang out with a childhood friend that's obviously obsessed with you and tattoos your face on their
Well, that's what I was
tramp area.
saying. Is like that's what confused me was they
Tramp
would have a
area.
talk.
That's where,
and-
that's where the stamp
And
goes.
I get it that they're friends, and I get like you don't want to like. He's in the kids' lives.
yeah.
He brings them toys and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, what they call him Poppy or something?
Yeah. Oh, it's my fraternity name. But again, like I don't know, it just kind of threw me for a whirl. And another thing that I think is probably one of the most important things to talk about in this third version of this universe is where the hell is the son or the brother?
Yeah, from the original movie, the
From
weed
the
smoker.
original movie. I want our listeners to look this up. It's the creepiest thing I've noticed because Holly brought it up. And she's like, you remember the guy from the first movie who basically was caught smoking pot, but they blamed it on Greg Focker? And that was a whole little gag. It's John Abrams. That's the actor. He played Denny Barnes, but he just is no longer there.
Yeah, Denny, that's right.
Like, they didn't even mention it. Like, I get why they didn't mention the daughter because, they broke up, they divorced, and like they mentioned her. But they did not mention the brother at all.
He's a burnout, man. Dick, do you realize you take us down these rabbit holes? I was just thinking, like, how are we talking about the brother? We were talking about Jessica Alba and Kevin Hart's careers taking off, and now we're talking about Denny, who's out of the.
Well, that's why I want to have the longer format of the show.
That's right. We can
Well, no,
chase,
I really think that's
chase the rabbits.
It's a funny thing to me, and it's like because it's a rare opportunity for movies to go 3 movies,
Yeah.
and how they handle the characters. because they did a really good job in this movie bringing back some gags.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like that because that's smart writing. And then these movies are what, 4 years apart or 6 years apart? I
Yeah,
think
like 4 and 6.
Meet the Parents 2, Meet the Fockers is 4, and then
6
6.
for this one.
So I mean, like clearly they're writing good characters and they're able to continue their relationship with good gags and jokes. Like we didn't even talk about the 5-hour boner and then the son walking in while Ben Stiller is administrating
the adrenaline or whatever.
Adrenaline.
Administrating.
And-
All right, well, speaking of the callbacks,
Well, you know,
let's,
by the way, that's what really happens.
is it?
Holly's like, yeah, I've had to do that a couple times.
Oh, gosh, bummer.
Right in it.
Yeah, that's the only way to get it because it's
Straight
numb.
to the
It's
source.
numb.
Straight to the source.
Basically,
Oh,
she goes, yeah. After 5 hours, there's so much blood. There's all the blood's flowing through it. It's numb. Like you don't feel it, and that's why it's a problem. That's why you need to put adrenaline in it.
Oh, interesting. That is medical advice also coming on the ticket stub.
Oh no!
Speaking of the callbacks,
she knew the beta blockers right offhand. I was like, why would you take boner pills? Like that doesn't sound like a cool thing for
yeah,
a female.
at least they consulted
you're-
medical professionals.
Well, if you remember, that was the whole advertising of the pill because older people couldn't take boner pills because it causes heart problems. So this
Yeah.
particular boner pill,
We just need a cut from this show of just the
Boner
word
pill.
boner pills being said over and over again.
It's been like
okay,
30
sorry,
times. Drinking
erectile
game.
dysfunction pills.
Yeah.
Sustango.
And that was the whole
Sustango.
that was the whole sale deal of
Yeah.
them was it had the beta blockers that blocked the problems that would occur to your heart while the blood flow is going somewhere else.
Yeah.
So
All right, well, let's do the best callbacks because we've mentioned a little bit how they call back to some of the.
Jinxie. Easy.
yeah. Jinxie was what I put also.
Yeah.
The other one, we've already talked about it, but how they just totally villainized Dr. Bob. He was like the golden child, and so in the first movie, and now he's back.
Oh,
and,
he's sitting there exacto knifing him out. Like, really,
yeah,
dude?
Yeah, he's cutting him out of pictures, and then Dr. Bob is in that. He's in that one bar where Greg goes, and he's
That
like,
was great.
"Oh, screw that
Well-
family, man!
Well,
I hate
again,
that family."
That was another E cut. I thought they were gonna have Jessica Alba come back up, and it was gonna be like, oh, Dr. Bob is like, oh, I see what you're doing. Because what I honestly thought they were gonna try to do was Dr. Bob was gonna use that as blackmail to get in good graces of Robert De Niro's character.
He seemed like he was pretty over Robert De Niro's character.
Well,
but,
no, you didn't know that until then.
Yeah,
But I thought that was because they're obsessed with Robert De Niro.
yeah. Well, anyways, Dr. Bob is pretty good. Well, how about this? What's the worst Fokker pun? Because one thing I noticed is that there is a
all of them.
lot of, I mean, the God. I don't know if this is gonna be one you say, but
Yes.
the God Fokker.
That one and the title of the film, Little Fockers. This has almost nothing to do with the kids at all. I don't understand why.
Well, there is and there isn't. Because a lot of the scene from scene A to scene B had to do with the kids. So, like, for example, they had to go to human school because of the kids. And then the next scene, they had to do the scene at the party because
yeah,
of
but
the kids.
the kids, there's no
and then
focus on
Dustin
the kids,
Hoffman's
though.
character
True.
has to come back from Spain because of the kids.
You would think this movie was gonna focus on the kids as
Yeah.
the main characters.
Like
But it's,
the kids were gonna act like little Fockers.
yeah.
Like, well, I think that
What do you
they
mean by
kind of
that?
did. They kind of did. They kind of alluded that the daughter was more like the Dustin or the Robert De Niro's family, and then they tried to say that the son was more of the problematic, gets in trouble, knocks things over, falls.
Yeah, but all the daughter
falls
said,
10 feet from a rock climbing wall and breaks his arm.
but all the daughter said was, Andy gives daddy his boners.
Yeah.
That's all. She was in the movie to say that line.
See, if we had drops on this show, that would be one that we would definitely need to.
Well, I don't know.
isolate
I
and
mean, I
keep.
think we're good on the FM side. I hope we
Okay.
are.
Okay. Phew, yeah.
But
Anyways, but yeah, the kids were very much so the title itself, you say, is a bad Fokker pun.
Yes.
Just like that was exploitative titling, I would say. I mean, the God
well, they had
Fokker,
to.
and they mentioned
They had to do. That was the original gag. You know who came up with that?
who?
Jim Carrey.
Really?
Yeah, Jim Carrey was originally going to play Ben Stiller's character.
And he said his name should be
He came up
Fokker?
in the writing process. He said Gaylord Fokker should be my character's name.
I guess they
Wow.
kept it.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting background because this movie is a perfect example of the industry doing the smart things,
Yeah.
like making a good movie. It has good funny writing and it has good characters. Robert De Niro, I think, produced all the films, and that's what I'm saying. I think it was like a lot of favors were done. That's why the movie really wraps itself well, especially Dustin Hoffman and Barbara Streisand. Like that's the most perfect Hollywood weirdo couple I've ever seen written. Because
Yeah.
it's perfect. Like it made so much sense the way they acted, and it was good. Wouldn't you say like those two characters were really well written?
I thought that was good. Yeah, Hoffman and Roz the sex worker or whatever. That's probably not the right way to say that. Dick, worst Fokker pun? Do you have one?
Honestly, I thought I did. I couldn't understand at the end because it was the Godfucker, and then it was
The Greg. Yeah, his name is Greg. So,
So
he was saying, I'm the Greg Focker, not the God Focker. Like he was trying to like claim his own identity instead of being
Okay.
in Jax. That was stupid also. I think that for me, Roz at the birthday party got a hug from the two kids and she said, oh, it's a Focker sandwich. Which I'm like, okay, at this point, they're not even like, they're not even trying
that
to.
was actually, yeah, you're right. That was the worst
Because
one.
Roz was the worst offender. She had like 3 or 4 lines in there that she was just throwing Focker around.
Like, I'm the cheese and y'all the bread.
Yeah, it's like you're just using this like it's not even a joke. Like at least they kind of pretend in the shows like they're not dropping the F-bomb when they use Focker. In the earlier ones, Roz did not care. But yeah, Focker sandwich. What? Who would say that? Oh, an Appel sandwich. Yeah, like nobody would ever say that kind of stuff. But she definitely did. All right.
Well, one thing I had to ask, and or not one thing, another thing I want to ask is, what was the deal with the lizard thing? Because I thought that was really random to have Robert De Niro's character afraid of a lizard.
Well,
He wasn't afraid of the lizard.
Yeah, he was. He's afraid of lizards.
yes, he was.
Oh, he
yes,
was?
He
Because
said-
one crawled into his ear when he
Laid
was in
eggs.
war and laid eggs.
But I thought that was like,
I don't know.
well, because to me it's kind of a strength because I don't recall that from the other movies,
Yeah.
and I thought it was really strange that he would be scared of that, and then the son is allowed to have that. I felt that was just kind of odd because it's like I feel like that you're just asking for trouble when because
I
the
don't
finger
know.
cutting,
I don't even remember all that.
the turkey cutting scene had so much potential to
And
it.
I sent you that clip.
It had so much, but nothing really panned out.
Listen to the audio of it.
Yeah,
the,
true.
The turkey cutting was funny. I
Yeah.
appreciate the.
Well,
turkey
I love the
cutting.
part where they're all judging his turkey
Yeah,
cutting.
he's terrible at carving. the
But like
turkey.
I'm saying, like there's a good point. Like there's gonna be something good from it. Nothing really came from it. He just cuts his finger a little bit. I thought they were gonna cut it off, and that was gonna be a later gag where he, Gaylord Fokker doesn't have a thumb or something like that, and they're gonna make a Fokker thumb joke or
Yeah,
something.
I don't know. All right, well, let's score it 1 to 10. What do we think? I think we've talked this one in.
It's a 5 for me.
Yeah, Dick, 1 to 10.
Oof, I would say an average 7.
Okay, I give it 5.5.
It's above average.
I give it 5.5. It wasn't terrible. Wasn't really good. But anyways, I think any final thoughts? Any short final thoughts? I think we've
What you missed, lasting moments.
yeah, I know, but I feel like we've talked about. What's your lasting moment?
My
Chris?
lasting moment, Jessica Alba laying in the ditch.
Okay.
Man, I love your takes. That's why we have Chris here.
That's
Yeah.
my lasting moment.
Grand Theater, you know where to call.
Anyways, all right.
Lasting moment for
Yeah,
me.
lasting-
Hey,
oh, sorry,
hey,
but-
you got all the time in the world, dude.
Yeah, I know, but
Lasting moment for me.
we're gonna talk 4 hours about Little Fockers.
Well, we're working on it. Lasting moment for me was the scene where the son walks in and sees his dad injecting adrenaline in Robert De Niro's erectile dysfunction long time period.
That's 3 generations of trauma right
like
there.
to me, that's
Grandpa,
probably
dad, son.
that's a good joke that they could bring back in the
And
4,
then
5,
the
and 6.
kid never mentions it, not one time after that.
Again, I thought they were going to do that
Yeah.
in the interviews. Like, oh yeah,
Like I saw
It'll come out in counseling in college
Daddy
Fockers.
touching Grandpa, something like that.
Oh, that's a
Well,
dark,
I mean, that's
dark
what
turn.
happened.
That's a good
I'm
dark
just, I'm
turn.
just saying, though, it's something along those lines to where there's more conflict.
Yeah, man.
I did think he was going to die at the end.
Who?
Robert De Niro's
Oh,
character.
yeah, that would have
Because
been.
he had like a heart attack again.
That would have been a good way to close out the franchise. Just kill off De Niro. Anyways, Little Fockers. If you haven't seen it, don't watch it on the E channel because that is a terrible way to
Yeah, you
consume
can
any
rent
media.
it. You
Yeah,
can-
rent it, buy it.
I think it's $8 on Amazon to buy.
Pirate it. Do whatever it is you'd like
Don't
to
pirate.
do.
We can't.
Oh,
say
don't
that.
pirate it. Sorry,
no.
yeah, never. You wouldn't steal a car, so don't steal a movie. But don't watch it on the
Very
E
true.
channel, please, because it's just the commercials are bad. It ruins the experience. Anyways, the ticket stub. This is our new format. We don't take breaks. We don't care. We talk as long as we want. We
Yeah, it's a little different because we did a rewind.
we did do a group rewind. The show will be more, this is our once a month thing where we do the group rewinds, but we'll be back to normal. Actually, I say that next week. I think we're not gonna have it. We're gonna play a replay next week.
Well, let's do a shout out real quick
Okay.
for our sponsor, and then when we come back, we'll talk about what we're doing next week, what movies we're reviewing, and all that kind of stuff. You want to do that? Is that okay if I do that to you?
Do it, man. Shout it out.
I didn't want to.
No, shout it out.
I don't want to cause a problem. So we're going to say a special thanks to our sponsors of the show. And if you want to be a sponsor of the show, all you got to do is reach out to us, the ticketstubpodcast@gmail.com. We're going to take a short break.
Did you say who our sponsor is? That wasn't a very good shout out to them.
Well, no, we're about to hear it.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Okay. All right, well, let's do that for the sponsor, and we'll be right back on the Ticket Stub.
Hey, it's Dick again, and I just want to say a quick thank you to Amstar Cinema and, of course, the Grand Theater. They are our ticket partner and one of our sponsors of the show, and this is a sponsor break for them. And if you're in the Montgomery County area, there is a Grand Theater there in Conroe. I think it's called the Grand 13. It's online. Just look it up. They have movie times all over the place. They also have a Real program. I think it's called Real Rewards. It's a very easy program to get involved. I think $10 every year, and you get money back every movie you see. And that $10 also gives you a small popcorn and a small drink right then and there. So basically, you're just paying for a small popcorn and a drink. But join the Real Rewards program for them. I'm part of it. I know Connor's part of it. And every time we go on a date, not us, with our significant others, we use it, make sure to bring it. That's the Real Rewards with the Grand Theater. And especially if you're in the Conroe area, go check it out at the Grand Theater up there in north. I believe it's north of the Loop 336. But if you're not from Conroe, it doesn't matter. It's any Amstar or the Grand Theater. So look them up. Look them up online and see if there's a location near you. And but yeah, thanks for listening to the Ticket Stub. And let's get back to the show.
We're back on the Ticket Stub. We're going to close this out pretty quick here, but we wanted to let you know about a few things coming up with the show. Yeah. Excellent.
That was cool. That was a cool shout out, right?
Yeah, that was a great shout out from our sponsor. Hopefully it went well.
What's the Grand and Amstar, right?
That's right.
I don't want to know.
Grand and Amstar Cinemas.
Thank you.
Yes, and we love them.
Ticket giveaway.
Yes. Well, we didn't have a question or a winner from this last week,
So we still need to give away tickets.
Okay. Well, we should have
To
talked
hire-
about
I
that.
think Wes Smith stopped listening.
No, he still listens.
Does he?
I just think he has like a bank of like 50 tickets because he won like
Oh, okay.
20
Well, let's
weeks.
do
in a
it
row.
like this. If we got a listener right now, between now and our next show, we'll be. We're not going to be here next week
Yes.
for the 6th show on the 6th, but we will be live on the 13th in the studio.
Okay.
So at noon, we will be live in the studio. And if you want to go between now and then, either email us at theticketstubpodcast@gmail.com, Twitter us at _ticketstub, or Facebook, The Ticket Stub Podcast. You just write us and you say Little Fockers. You get 2 tickets to any Grand Theater, or is it Amstar Cinema? Is that how it works?
Yep. Any grander Amstar Cinema.
All right.
All
well,
right.
perfect.
So there, is that okay? We
That's
do that?
Hey, that's perfect, man. And there couldn't be an
So-
easier way to get to. It's like a $20 value nowadays. That's a good.
Yeah.
It's a good deal.
It's more like 50.
Well,
Movies are so expensive
It's
these
up
days.
To, it's up to around $30 value. Yeah.
So
Tickets cost $15.
for 3D. Yeah.
Oh, well, will those tickets work for 3D?
They will. Yeah.
Whoa! Didn't realize that.
now he's gonna win them.
Yeah, now I'm gonna win them every week.
But
Little Fockers,
but
bro.
yeah, again, all you gotta do is just write Little Fockers,
Yeah.
and then we'll get back to you about
And
how
spelling
to pick 'em up.
counts.
Yes, yes.
Yes, please. Otherwise, we'll be very
Or we could
offended.
just-
Why is this person calling me?
Yeah, they're very angry at us. Okay, so let's talk about what we're gonna watch next time.
Yeah,
For the 13th. So the 6th
It's
there'll be a
Christmas
replay.
time.
The 13th we're coming in. It's Christmas time. There's a lot of movies coming out between now and then. Chris, you've got a great one to bring to the table.
Well, getting close to Christmas, I'm going to watch Goosebumps, A Haunted Halloween.
Oh, thank you for bringing that service to the group.
Yes.
Jack Black, huh?
Is Jack Black the sequel to
Is it Jack Black though?
Goosebumps.
He's in that movie for about how long?
5 minutes?
Oh, didn't realize that. Okay. Well,
About 5 minutes.
Yeah,
okay. Sounds great. Can't wait. Dick, what are you gonna watch?
I'm gonna watch the Netflix original The Christmas Chronicles with my favorite actor of all time, Kurt Russell, who plays. He's not Snake Plissken in this movie.
Unfortunately.
I think he's gonna be when I watch it.
I thought
It's
Nicolas
available
Cage.
right now on Netflix. So
I
if you
thought
want-
Nicolas Cage was your favorite actor of all time.
actually, I will be honest. My favorite actor of all time is Keanu Reeves.
Really?
Oh,
He's I'll see whatever he's in, because he does everything, man. He does comedy, he does dark thrillers, he does sci-fi, he does romantic movies, everything.
I just
He-
saw him in Something's Gotta Give the other day. I watched that for some
So
reason.
yeah, he plays one of the boyfriends, right?
Yeah.
Or the maybe boyfriend to the older lady.
Yep. Mhm.
I don't know that
So-
I remember that movie. I feel like I saw it, but I
Jack
can't.
Nicholson.
Yeah, Jack Nicholson and Diane Keaton, bro.
Oh,
Get with
that's
it.
right. Yeah, I did see that movie.
But yeah, Christmas Chronicles. It's 2018. It's available now on Netflix, and I'm really kind of excited to see it. And I know a lot of people who were involved with like the original Home Alone helped make this movie, and then especially Kurt Russell, him being Santa Claus probably wouldn't be my first choice, but let's see how he does.
I bet he
So
kills it.
So he plays Santa Claus.
He plays Santa Claus. So I'm looking at the synopsis of the movie. The story of a sister and brother, Kate and Teddy Pierce, whose Christmas Eve plan to catch Santa Claus on camera turns into an unexpected journey that most kids can only dream about.
Is it a comedy?
I mean, this is
it's pretty funny.
It's not doing too well on Metascore. It's got a 52.
That's pretty good.
IMDb
For a
gives it
movie
a
like that.
7.4 stars.
That's also pretty good.
It's an hour and 44 minutes. It's an adventure comedy family. So
An adventure comedy family.
yeah.
So
So I'm somewhat. I think I need to do Christmas movies leading up to Christmas because I like Christmas movies sometimes, and I think this is the only time I'd ever watch a Christmas. I don't think I've ever watched a Christmas movie outside of Christmas. Do you feel kind of weird we doing that?
Yeah, it does feel weird. Well, for me, I'm gonna watch. I've already seen Creed 2, but I'm gonna wait to talk. It'll be a little bit old by then, but I'll still talk that. And then I'm gonna see Widows. I haven't seen Widows yet, but I'm actually
Heard
hearing
great
Better hurry
hearing
up.
really good stuff. It looked so dumb,
Better
but
hurry up.
is it about to leave?
It probably is. Yeah.
Oh, okay. We'll have to check it out this week then.
Yeah.
When you're at the theater, Chris, do you get like a message from them saying stop showing this movie, or is it just stop playing? Because I know everything's somewhat automated in a sense of delivery.
No, every Monday we get from the film department, we get what we're going to get for Friday.
Okay.
So we really only have like 2 or 3 day notice of what's going to stop playing.
But you
Oh,
can
that
kind of
sucks.
tell though, because if it's
Yeah,
gone like 2
yeah.
showings a day, then it's gonna be gone the next week.
Sometimes
probably.
they get doubled up before we lose them. But,
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you can pretty much tell.
All right, well, that's what we're going to be doing on the 13th. The 6th, we won't have a show, so just go play an old episode and just wish that we were here with you. And I hope you like the new format on the podcast. A little longer, a little less restriction, maybe a little less time restriction. I don't know, maybe it's terrible because we just ramble on. Give us some feedback and let us know if we need to tighten it up, loosen
Well,
it
this
up.
was also an awkward episode because it was a group rewind, which we need to figure out what's the next group rewind.
Yeah.
And I will challenge the listeners to come up with a movie that you think none of us have seen and none of us have heard about. And I would love, we'll do our best, even if it's like an illegal copy of the movie. I'm okay with
Wait,
adult
how come you get
films.
to talk about illegal copies?
Yeah.
I'm okay with the adult films.
Okay, whatever.
I don't know if Chris is.
Adult films.
Because he can only watch it in that one room with the burning canister of the cats. That's the only room he can watch.
If he
this
lights up a
movie.
cat, his wife will not come in there, so he'll be safe to go for. I don't know how long's the cat burn for, Chris.
It's 20 minutes.
Oh goodness! All right, well
So we'll come up with that.
Okay, we'll let you know on
make an
social
announcement
media.
On social media, which is what? What's our social media?
at @the_Ticket Stub on Twitter, the Ticket Stub Podcast on Facebook.
Yeah.
So check us out there. Everybody, thanks for listening. We hope you have a great 2 weeks. We'll be back on December 13th with more great stuff. For Dick, for Chris, my name is Connor. We are signing off on the Ticket Stub.
What up?